Hello everyone, hello, welcome back to the channel, and happy birthday to the channel. Happy birthday to, I was going to say me, but my birthday's in May. The channel is now officially 2 years old. I've been doing this for 2 years, it's just crazy. And I want to thank everyone who's watched up to this point, and everyone who's been around, and everyone who helped out. You're all brilliant, you're all amazing, and I love you. And it's crazy to look back, 2 years ago, how much stuff has happened in 2 years. Like 2 years ago, I didn't know about the certain C word. There were news reports in China. That's when it was starting to kick off over there, and I couldn't have had any idea. I mean, last year, 2020, I know it was bad for everyone, but I had at least like 6 months off work with nothing to do, which was just, it was insane. Let's hope it never happens again. But it blows my mind. Anyway, 2 years is just astonishing. I love doing YouTube. I love this hobby. I love making videos. And I know videos have been a bit iffy at the moment, but life is there. So I'm, working through that. But 2 years, fantastic. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of the video. Hello everyone, hello, welcome back. Today we're going over the Oasis SOTSOG album. Now this is Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, but it's commonly referred to as its abbreviation SOTSOG. So that's what I'm going to be calling it in this video. Now this is it's the fourth Oasis album if you don't count the Master Plan, since the Master Plan is just a B-sides album and not a full-on album like this one. But let's just go with the fourth one. And nowadays, Noel hates this album. He doesn't like it at all. And he said in a recent interview that he really doesn't like Sunday Morning Cool. So much so that he stopped it from getting onto the Oasis Greatest Hits album. Now, that to me is crazy, because I love Sunday Morning Cool and I love this album. Sunday Morning Cool, or at least the MTV Unplugged version, is on my Oasis mixtape somewhere over there. And, I adore the song, but we'll get into that. I showed you this magazine before. The Oasis Later Years magazine, there's two of them. They do their early years as well. Now, this was a great read, but for whatever reason, it completely skips over this album. There is nothing in this magazine about that album, which is really weird. It goes from their not the third album, it's just odd. It doesn't even mention it at all. Maybe they mentioned that in the other magazine, that's why it's not in that one, but I don't know. Still, great read if you're into that sort of stuff. So, this album had a really troubled upbringing, as after the Master Plan released, two founding members, Bonehead and Gwigsy, would quit the band. So it was just Noel and Liam. They would bring in new members, and I'm blanking on what they're called. I will tell you in a minute. But the new members came in, and then with this album and after this album, the band would primarily be made up of Noel and Liam. That was the glue holding it all together. And unfortunately, that was what would break up the band. Before, they were all mates in the band. But now, you only had Noel and Liam. Jem and Bell, I think their names are. They were proper musicians, as opposed to friends of Noel and Liam. And I'm not saying that, Bonehead and Gwigsy aren't proper musicians, there are. But these two were coming in just to help the band get there. And not on this album, because the drummer stuck around. But eventually, I know he's called Starkey, but I forget what his first name is. But anyway, Starkey is Ringo Starr's son, who would start playing with Oasis, which is really cool. But yeah, released in the early 2000s. I absolutely love this album. So let's talk about the looks. I've never really been a huge fan of this album cover. It's not really iconic. It's just the New York skyline, and you can open it up, and it looks nice. And it fits with the style of the album, I guess, with the blue and the murky colour scheme, but there's nothing really special about that. I like the Oasis logo, I like that, but otherwise it's just a bit bland. And then I reckon that would have been a much better album cover. I don't know, you tell me. But we also have this sleeve, which is just brilliant. This is definitely like early 2000s, you know, with the flame decals and the all cool dude typeface. That's just brilliant. I'll show you the record since it's going to fall out anyway. This is a original 2000 release, because when I started collecting records, obviously the first ones I wanted was my favourite band, but they hadn't been reissued. Now they have been reissued. You can find this in any record shop, and it's usually much better quality. I mean, unfortunately this one is falling apart because it is an original release. But let's talk about the songs. So this album features a mellotron and a lot of electronic sounds and instruments that they wouldn't use. You know, it was a big departure from their earlier stuff, sort of classic rock and Britpop era of the band. And that is a huge reason why a lot of people don't like this album. You know, a lot of people, a big thing with Oasis is a lot of people think they only have 3 good albums, which is not true. But I can sort of see where people are coming from, because their first 3 albums, or 4 if you include the Master Plan, are 10 out of 10s. They are brilliant. For this album onwards, the band would sort of struggle a bit, and there's a lot of floppy songs that just, they're not terrible, but they're not particularly good either. A song on this album would be Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. It's a really heavy rocker sort of song with these electronic sort of, it's almost auto-tune or a bit of reverb on Liam Gallagher's vocals, and it sounds alright, but it's not the best, and it's just a plain rocker, and the lyrics aren't great either. But that's juxtaposed to songs like Go Let It Out, which is one of the best Oasis songs. It's very, very classic rock. It sounds a lot like the Beatles, which is what they were going for, and Liam Gallagher just smashes the vocals. And although the chorus is really simple, with Go Let It Out, go let it in, go let it out, it just smashes, brilliant, and his vocals sound fantastic. The opening track, Fucking in the Bushes, is they would play that before a live show as they were coming on stage, and it's a snippet from a TV show, but I don't know which TV show it was. I looked it up not an hour ago and I can't remember what it is. Oh, balls. But anyway, it's alright for an opening track. It's a bit boring, if I'm honest with you. Who Feels Love, which is a very George Harrison-esque slow burner, you know, there's no sitars in it, but it's very Indian inspired, very hippie. And it sounds great, and Liam Gallagher's vocals are on point. Absolutely lovely. Little James, it would go amiss if we didn't talk about Little James, which is the first Liam Gallagher penned song, first song he wrote for the band. You know, he might have written beforehand, but this was the first official released one. And it's all about his son, who was dealing with the divorce of Liam Gallagher and his first wife. You know, Little James, we're not the same. Your smile helps us get through, and things like that. It's really beautiful, and I just love it. I love how simple it is, and the meaning behind it is vast. And then side 2. So a weird thing with this album is side 1 sort of goes like this, you know, but side 2 is absolutely solid. I mean, Gas Panic is one of Noel Gallagher's best written songs. What tongueless ghost of sin crept through my curtains, sailing on the sea, swept on a stormy night. I think you don't got no name, but I can't be certain, and in me starts to confide, that my family don't seem so familiar, and my enemies all know my name. And if you hear me tap on your window, you better get on your knees and pray, 'cause panic is on the way. Amazing. And the guitar riff, and the guitar solo is stunning. It's just fantastic. And when they play it live, it just destroyed the room. It was so good. Everyone loved it. Now the next 2 songs, I mean, Where Did It All Go Wrong, is a Noel-led, Noel-sung, Noel-penned song about a breakup, and wondering, how did we get to this point? Why are you now with him? You should be with me. And it's a very beautiful song, very poignant. And I love the bar about, do you have receipts for the friends that you buy? Amazing. And then, of course, we have Sunday Morning Cool, which is all about going into rehab and dealing with addiction. Now, the reason why this album was very somber and very, dark in places, is because both Noel and Liam were giving up the drugs. After the release of Be Here Now, Noel Gallagher went to Liam and said, we need to clean up our act a bit. We can't keep doing, I don't want to assume what drugs they were doing, but they were the biggest band in the world in the 90s. So you can imagine what kind of drugs would entail from that. I know on their American tour they got into some meth, and anyway, that's going to get me demonetized. But so they were dealing with addiction and getting over addiction, and I'm not sure if Noel Gallagher went into rehab, and that's not true. Well, that might be true, I don't know. But the music video for Sunday Morning Cool is in rehab. It's filmed with someone going to rehab, and it's a very beautiful song. I absolutely love it. And although I don't deal with addiction, its themes of mental health, really speak to me. And that's why I had it made, pressed into that special vinyl. And it's like really strange that Noel Gallagher doesn't like it. So the next song is I Can See a Liar, which is one of those songs that honestly I could press the skip button. It's Liam Gallagher's vocals are great, but the lyrics are a bit iffy, and it's just there. But then the closing track, Roll It Over. Oh, I mean, the production across this whole album is brilliant, but that song and the guitar riff, just fantastic, and it's such an amazing closer. It's very poignant, as it's still in that sort of melodramatic, moody vibes, and the lyrics are the way that Liam Gallagher sings, roll it over my soul, leave me here. It touches you, and it just, it gives me goosebumps. It's so fucking good. So in conclusion, so this album is an 8 out of 10 for me. It's near perfect, but I'm a huge Oasis fan, but even I can admit that their later albums were either really good or a bit meh. The songs on the album, like their next album's the same, and it's just, I can admit that they didn't, they sort of lost something when they left the 90s, which is not unusual. A lot of bands sort of lose their touch after they leave the era they got big in. But yeah, this album's an 8 out of 10, and I say this every time, but if you haven't heard this, definitely go and give it a listen. Again, thanks so much for 2 years of Records with Robin. It has been outstanding, and I love each and every one of you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.